All right, how about the last video of the semester? All right, example 3. So a study is conducted where there's a sample of house fires taken and the number of firemen responding to the fire, which is X, and the amount of damage done, Y, is determined. It is found there is a correlation between the variables. Does this mean the firemen caused the damage? Okay. Hopefully you're like, no, that doesn't make any sense, right? So what other variable could explain the correlation? So this goes back to some previous discussions. A lurking variable or a confounding variable, remember, is a variable that affects the outcome of a study, but it's not measured. So what else could it mean? Okay, that more firemen responding and the amount of damage, like there's a correlation there. Okay, the more firemen, the more damage. Well, if the firemen aren't causing it, what's perhaps the issue? Well, again, the larger the fire, the more firemen that are going to have to show up. So another variable that could explain the correlation is the size of the fire, because that would have an impact on both how many people showed up to fight the fire and the amount of damage that was done. Okay, so just because there's a correlation, that does not at all mean there's a cause and effect there. Okay, so be aware of that. All right, the last example is just going to have us go through and look at what the slope means and what the y-intercept means. We're going to do the first couple together, and then I'm going to have you, the answers, I guess, to C and D will then just kind of magically appear. So I want you to look at those and see how you did, compare your results to mine. All right. So X is the size of a house in square feet, and Y is the selling price in thousands of dollars. And we've got the regression equation. Interpret the slope. Okay, so interpret the slope. So remember, slope is about for every 1 unit increase in X. So for every additional square foot, okay, what happens? Well, since the slope is positive, the selling price or the cost of the house increases by, and that is not 9 cents. Okay, remember this is in thousands of dollars, so multiply that number by 1,000. So the price would go up by about $99.20. Okay, does it make sense to find the meaning or interpret the meaning of the y-intercept? So again, if you're going to do that y-intercept, that is where x is 0. Well, if x is 0, that means there is no square footage. We would not have a selling price of a house that doesn't exist. Okay, so does not make sense. And that would be because x equals 0 means 0 square feet. And again, that would be ridiculous. Okay. All right, moving on to B. If X is the wingspan of a butterfly in millimeters and Y is the lifespan of the butterfly in days, then we have the regression equation that's given. Interpret the slope. Okay, so again, for the slope, for every additional, okay, so wingspan, so every additional millimeter in wingspan, what happens? The lifespan of a butterfly decreases because of the negative value by 0.8445 days. Okay, and then for the y-intercept, would it make sense to interpret the y-intercept? Okay, so if x is 0, the butterfly has no wingspan. Okay, this makes no sense. All right, so now I want you to pause the video and I want you to answer question C and question D. Interpret the slope and decide whether or not it makes sense to answer the y-intercept, and then check back and see how your results compare to mine. All right, so there are my answers. For D, just make a note on the y-intercept. Again, if x is 0, that means the eggs are free. I doubt that's ever going to happen, but should it ever happen, we just have some oversupply of eggs and they have to give them away rather than sell them. Milk would cost about $2 and rounding 41 cents a gallon. All right, that is the end not only of chapter 9, that is the end of notes for the course. Congratulations on making it through. You've got one assignment to take a peek at in chapter 9. Maybe it's 2, I don't remember. And a quick test. So get on that homework and finish strong.